guys, welcome back. And like I said earlier, our guest is known as Supergirl, an award-winning broadcaster, radio producer and presenter with over years of experience spanning the UK and Nigeria. Currently a broadcaster with Sheffield Radio, she's built a reputation for excellence in radio presentation, voice work, and storytelling.
Good to have you on the show. You're welcome. I love your
Thank you.
smile, radiant. So,
Thank
beyond the microphone, all of the profile that we just read, who is Ade Yinka?
I'm a fun girl. She's a girl with so much energy.
Supergirl.
Yeah. And she's a girl who's got a dream. I think one of my biggest dreams was always be owning my own radio station at the end of the day. Yeah. So
Good
I'm
dream.
someone who is very energetic. Yeah, clock it.
Okay, so I just also wanted to add the convener of the On Air and Rising Media Conference. That's to mentor young talents, especially those who have less than 5 years experience. But let's talk about the fact that you spent over a decade across Nigeria and the UK. How has that journey shaped you?
Well, I'm still, in the process of learning. I'm someone who never stops learning. And I always believe that's the only way I can get better, every time, especially as someone who has a vision to be bigger in life and in my career. The experiences merging both countries has actually been so great. I'm thankful to God that I was able to understand, for example, that in the broadcasting industry in Nigeria, we actually make use of the British English and stuff like that. That really helped me because when I moved in, it helped me to blend in, perfectly, and also helped me to position myself in the. I'm still finding my feet, anyways. But yeah, I've been able to blend myself in that, that manner that I could just get in, start something going on for myself, even in another country.
Okay, that makes sense. Well said. So, from your experience, how has the media space, from your own experience, how has it evolved over the years?
Interestingly, I started, or I got into the industry a long time ago. I would date it back to when I had my internship in Lagos. That was all the way back in 2009. And then when I got back to school after that internship, program, I knew that radio was something that I really wanted to do. And I had the opportunity to intern with some of the big radio stations in Lagos as well after then. I've listened to various shows, presenters, newscasters. I've seen and watched how they did their thing, studied them. And, dating it all the way back to how things are done now, there's a huge difference. Also coupled with the fact that AI has been introduced now. Let's not forget that microphone is very affordable these days. People can just get their microphones and start broadcasting. Also there's something called online TV, online radio.
Sure.
So the differences are quite enormous, and it's really great. But regardless, it's very important that we always put in the place of mentorship. I think that's one of the things and ways to uphold the ethics of the industry, which for me is something very important.
Nice. I love the fact that you spoke about mentorship, because now there's just everybody's into the media, everybody's a TV presenter, so there's really no understanding of the ethics of broadcasting and journalism. So I'm just to highlight what inspired you to start. I'm sure these are the reasons that sort of led you to starting this platform.
Yeah.
And why is it also important to focus on broadcasters with less than 5 years experience?
Thank you. I've been asked this question a couple of times. Why not expand it? You're going to limit yourself. But I'm someone who really loves to carve a niche and, set a goal and just achieve it. People that, they've got the experience in the industry should have their own kind of trainings. The trainings they would have will be different from those who are just coming behind. And one thing that really gave me the thoughts to put this together was, I remember when I left the country not too long ago, a few years ago, and some of my interns that worked with me would always still reach out to me to say, oh, please, I need you to help me. I have the show synopsis. Can you help me put it together? I need your ideas. I remember my first 2 years out of the country, I was listening to my intern shows because they wanted me to listen, give them an input, feedback. And the question that comes to mind, I should expect that these people should have leaders. People would have their time, but everyone seems to be too busy, and you can't blame anyone really. But these people are really thirsty. They want to know if they're doing the right thing. There are two different things. You can do something and do it wrong, and you can do something and do it right. But these days, it seems people are just focused on doing something, which is really not the way to success for me. So yeah, that's one of the things I thought together and said, you know what, let's bring these ones together in a room, have this conversation and let's just get this ball, rolling.
Okay, so that was practically what inspired you to build a platform, like talking about the conference now, the On Air and Rising,
Exactly.
the media conference,
Yeah.
which I think it's part of it, like what inspired you to actually put it up together. So now let's move on to this. Why is it important to actually focus on broadcasters with less than 5 years of experience?
Like I said, because they are the ones that I'm focusing on. They're the ones coming behind. They're the ones who would, so people like me, like I said, if for example I own my own radio station tomorrow, if I can, I might not have all the time to say I'm sitting on a show, I'm hosting the breakfast show, I'm doing this. These people are the ones that will be employed. And, these days I just look at it and say, are there really people that you can employ? Sometimes when I'm on social media, not just about radio, I read tweets, people saying, oh, I'm finding it so difficult to employ people these days and things like that. These are some of the things, right? And I, for one, I really hope that when I get to that level in my life, people who would work with me will be people who have the experience and they've learned, in the industry over the years. So that is why I'm focusing on people with less than 5 years on-air experience as a voiceover actor, radio presenter, TV presenter as well.
Okay, so I really love that. That's really impressive. I think that a lot of young people are in broadcasting now.
Yeah.
Need to get the training. It's very key. Especially with social media that, everybody seems to feel like, oh, I'm already
I'm a pro.
there. So they don't really need that training. They're making so much money, but it's really key. So let's talk about confidence. A lot of young talents find it difficult to build confidence. When it comes to presentation, from radio to TV. How can they sort of build that strong communication and stage presence? Because it's very key.
Yeah. I think before you even get to have a one-to-one, like close mentorship with somebody that you like, you need to listen to them. That was something I did for myself, and I think that helped me build my confidence. I listened. I would, listen to their radio shows. I'm a fan of radio more than TV anyways. Follow them, know what they're doing. If there's a conference or something they're organizing, I want to be part of it. I want to attend. That's one way. Also, you can tell people to tell you, how you're doing. Rate me, listen to me. That's how you build your confidence as well. And when you put the goal before you, I'm in radio because I want to make this and that impact. I think that's more than enough reason as well to help you build your confidence on the job. You're so right. And recently, I just think it's because people dabbled into the industry without knowing what the industry is really about. People think talking on the radio and TV is so cheap. I really wish it was cheap.
I wish it was. I wish.
People will say, is it not just to talk? But it's not just about talking. It's about putting what you want to say together. That's what forms your confidence. Because if you're giving the microphone, you might just be lost.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Okay, so talking about the conference, we're talking about training for voiceovers, TV presentation, on-air personalities to get their confidence. Confidence is that word, that first year. But now when it comes to news reading, so people just feel, it's just to read, right? And some find it very boring, like it's a very tedious task. Like news. Some people don't even find interest in news reading. So what are really the proper skills that is needed, for those? Because you can't go through all that aspect without going through that phase of news reading. You should read the news, but we find it very tasking and boring. So what are the proper skills needed to be able to have, this skill set?
To be very honest, I always run away from news.
From the horses,
we have plenty on that table.
From the horses,
I didn't like reading the news. I ran. Even when I was the head of programs for one of the radio stations, I just wanted to avoid news. But I think there was a training that the station had one time, and the facilitator mandated. So what I did was, I was on the morning show, but for the newspaper review, I would excuse myself and allow the head of station to sit on it. And she said, no, it shouldn't be that way. You should sit on it. You are on the breakfast show, so sit, do it all. I think I will be forever grateful to her because it polished me. News, reading, producing is a different ball game that really needs to be studied. I don't know, but I still feel it should be differentiated. A show presenter should not be a newsreader or newscaster. They should be two different, they're two different people. I was I mean, I sat there watching and listening to you talking about football. I'm like, God, she's so good. You're really good. You're passionate about it. Imagine putting me on such a show and saying, come talk about sports. You know, I don't know what I'm going to say. I might read the news, I might see it on blogs, but I might not be able to deliver as much as you just did. And that's it. That's the difference. So skills are needed. You can't just pick up the bulletin and say you want to start reading the news. It's not done that way. There are ways that you read. Pronunciation is very key in news reading. That was something I got to, learn. There was an error I made on air one time, and I wanted to I felt like the ground should just open up and go in. Because those are the things that goes with news reading. So it's a lot of trainings needed in that regard. You need to be trained. You need to understand how to pronounce, know when to stop, your punctuations and all of that. Those are the skills needed actually if you want to go into news.
My next life, I don't want to read it.
If you unpack what it means to be a broadcaster in this century, today but let's talk about the role of guardians, mentorship.
Yeah.
Whether you like it or not, there's certain people that paved the way. When I remember my own journey, it's someone called Tokumba Ojekunle who literally opened the door for me because he just said you can do this. I literally had never done anything like that before, but he just said you can do it. So what's the role of mentorship and guardians, especially for the next generation of broadcasters?
I really wish and hope that, those people in that category are watching us right now. And if there's anything I want to say first before I go to that question is, please, you can be talented, you might have a great voice. Mentorship is key. Guidance is very key. You mentioned Uncle Tokumbo. I remember then when I had a radio show on that same station where he worked, he would call me after the show and say, I noted these words that you didn't pronounce correctly. This is how you pronounce it. Repeat it after me. And I will. And he did that for me month in, month out, until I learned what he wanted me to learn. The likes of Funke Treasure, for example. I didn't sound good when I started. It was so bad. Took classes with her, helped my dictions, my pronunciations, made me better. Yeah. The likes of Abiola Agberagba, she reads fantastically, on air while reading the news. Those are people that mentored me. Those are people that I looked up to. And their feedback made a very huge impact in my career. So like I said earlier, for those who are just coming, people think it's so easy now because of social media, AI, and all those things. Yes, those can, be on the side for you, but you need mentorship. If you know you want to go far in the industry, you really need to be mentored. You need someone who has walked that path to tell you if what you're doing is right or you're doing it the wrong way. Yeah.
I really love that. I love what Tolu did just now, like mentioning the name of someone who opened, who paved the way for her. But it is something that we don't get to see these days because people are young and woke and just want to do their things alone. So people believe in, I discovered myself by myself.
Yeah.
You don't like to acknowledge, this person. And you also, the question I wanted to ask, then you also mentioned some names. How important and vital is it for young people to really acknowledge these ones? Because they'd be like, we're young and woke, and then all these people, you're just OGs. And I mean, yes, because it was what Tolu did just now that made me realize that, like we really need to learn to appreciate it. But these ones don't. They just feel it's a walk in the park and just an isolated path for themselves alone.
It's really sad how the next generation takes appreciation. I'm very big on appreciation. I don't forget people who has helped me because of my journey, because they formed who I am today. And also, when you let those people know that you really do appreciate them and they're part of who you are today, it also makes them feel fulfilled. So J.J. McAdam, for example, gave me a chance here many years ago. When I walked in and saw some of the old colleagues that I used to work with here, we hugged, memories and things like that. That's how it should be. If I'm talking about places I've worked, people I've worked with, I would definitely mention a place like this and people that I know. I remember one of the conferences that I moderated a panel for somewhere in Ibadan. I think that was 2-3 years ago. One of my bosses, the owners of one of the radio stations I worked with, walked in while I was just about leaving the stage, and I had to take about just 2 minutes to appreciate him, asked everyone to give him a standing ovation and give him a round of applause. you know, make him feel honored because he gave me the opportunity. People would say, oh, I'm doing a job, I'm getting my salary. If I say something now, you might think I'm very silly, but it's something I used to do. When I worked in Nigeria, when I get my salary, I used to appreciate my employer. I'm not saying everyone should do it. I'm just telling you. And you see, these things are the magics that really opened the doors for me. I really wish that the upcoming generation will understand appreciation. When someone takes time to listen to your show, for example, and said, oh, I listened to your show today, you should say thank you.
That's it. Because of time, we would have taken all the time. For any young broadcaster watching now, what would be the first step they should take, and they want to go in the industry? What should be the first step they can take, just in 60 seconds?
Understudy and mentor. You don't need to see them physically. Listen to them on the radio and the TV, wherever they are. Listen to them, watch them closely. That's it.
Okay, one sentence. What defines a true impactful broadcaster?
One who leaves a legacy behind.
Nice. Wow.
Well said.
Thank you so much for coming on the show. It was really, really nice having you. Yes, Adeyinka Akinremi. As the media landscape evolves, we continue to remember that the one constant thing is the need for strong, authentic voices. And therefore, the platform like broadcasting is a tool for the future and has to be shaped with intention. And this is where we say our goodbyes on the show.
Yes, and the word for the day we have from Wole Soyinka: the greatest threat to freedom is the absence of criticism.
All right. Okay, what's your Instagram handle? They can reach out and follow you and get
Supergirl on
advice
the
and tips.
radio.
Supergirl. I love it. Supergirl on the radio is so easy to find. Thank you so
you.
much for coming on.
Thank you for having
It was really
me.
nice
Thank
having
you.
you. I will see you tomorrow for a throwback. Have a beautiful day. Bye.